Please be the right quest. It was the wrong quest. Please be the right quest. It was the wrong... Wait, no, that might be right. Please be the right... I've waited 2 days for this because my parents' basement flooded. John Worst Weapon Hunter here. In the last Wilds video, I said I'd attempt the Hammer Zoshia record if the video got more than 50 likes, and you just barely missed it. Just 48.5 likes away. I'm a nice guy though, so I thought, what the heck? Let's take a crack at this. The first step to any honest competition is to know our opponent. Pulling up speedrun.com, you'll see that... Oh, no, I guess people don't use this for Wilds. Pulling up Discord, you'll see that... Oh, there's not a speedrun Discord either. Am I crazy? Where are all the runs? From what I can gather, people just make YouTube channels to individually post their PBs, and that's pretty cool, but if you want to find a specific run for a weapon or monster, you gotta scour through every recommendation YouTube has to offer. Half of these aren't speed runs. There's a chance I don't find the world record because it's just not, it didn't get recommended to me. It's whatever, man. It's whatever. Was it always this hard to find runs in other games? I don't know. I'm trying to learn the culture. Rants aside, it looks like the fastest runner is Masid with an impressive 7:15. My time right now is an 8:34, so I think improving by a minute would be a very healthy goal. And boom, a 6:46, not too bad. I should make a post about this. Just to be safe, I'll see if there are any other runs posted while I did attempts. A sub 6:30 would sure go crazy. What? This is on par with the Swax time I showed in the last video. And this time just dropped, it's even faster, and it doesn't use the palico. What do you mean? Isn't the hammer supposed to be the... I've only seen season 1 of Invincible. Is it any good? I'm really bad at watching shows. I started The Boys at season 3 and didn't realize until I was halfway done. I'd like to formally apologize to all my angry commenters that I would ever state an opinion on the internet. Apparently, I was being disingenuous, peak stupidity, and giving virgin energy. Also, hunting horn is the best weapon, and I should respect it more, as well as the worst weapon, and my video is invalid because I didn't call it such. I'm learning as I go here, folks. I appreciate the critique. In all seriousness, most of you gave amazing feedback, so I'd just like to revise my last video. Worst can mean a lot of things. Worst damage, worst gameplay, worst justification for needing to be sharpened. I mean, look at this. That's pretty goofy. And what I intended to say was I find hammer to require the most skill with the least amount of payoff. Does that make sense? Maybe a better term is difficult. Hammer is the most difficult weapon. Are we cool now? I'm really trying to appease the Church of Bonk. I mean, they just lost their pope after all. That all being said, against Zoshia specifically, hammer has a niche, which enables its crazier times. Zoshia has these secondary arm wing things that are additional weak zones and provide extra damage if hit enough. Most weapons can only hit these arms when Zoshia is toppled. You might think, oh, okay, can hammer reach those arms? No, it can barely reach what's in front of it. But it is one of few blunt weapons, meaning it inflicts stun when you hit the monster's head. After enough blunt hits, stun activates and works like an extra topple. You get about 3 of these procs against Zoshia, so hammer is gifted a lot of extra time to hit these weaker arms. After people started properly learning Zoshia, they could plan out these KOs to benefit them as much as possible. And that combined with some armor and skill changes helped lower the time. Speaking of armor and skill, this goes out to all the 6 fleet members or the I can't get the game to run members who'd like a breakdown of all the skills I'm using. I got this set directly from the channel that did the No Palico run, link in description. They actually have their own breakdown video, but they very rudely gatekept it from me, specifically, by speaking Japanese. The final down is the Dragon Earth Explosion down. Zazia will spawn dragons with certain actions. Anime lied to me, this sub sucks. Allow me to dub everything essential in this build. You probably shouldn't build this for a casual hunt unless you really enjoy bullying, but there's 2 main stats to focus on, attack and affinity. Attack is a flat damage boost, and affinity gives you a chance to crit. Critical hits boost damage by 25%, unless you have the crit boost skill. Each level of crit boost provides an additional 3% to that 25%. Which makes 3 levels of it close to mandatory, so a 34% damage crit. We then slot in 2 attack gems because 1 point of attack is generally better than 1 point of affinity. Take that with a grain of salt. I'm not the expert here. That's like the osmosis knowledge I have. As for armor, the majority of speedruns use 2 parts Fulgur, 2 parts Gore Magala, and 1 flex slot. The meta recently is shifting towards straight 4-piece Gore, but for Hammer that isn't the case yet. The Fulgur Anjanath set bonus grants you another stamina bar. This would be useless if not for the skill Maximum Might. Maximum Might gives a crazy 30% affinity boost, but only when your stamina is full. Using the Fulgur armor's second stamina bar, your main stamina bar will still count as being quote-unquote full. So that boost is almost always active. If your weapon never uses stamina, you would rather use the 4-piece Gore and just manage your stamina. But Hammer's strongest option drains stamina, so no dice. We still do have 2 pieces of Gore Magala's armor, and that set bonus gets rather funky. You inflict yourself with a frenzy debuff that drains health, but you can cure this by hitting the monster enough. Once cured and with the level 3 antivirus skill, you get 25% affinity. Our final armor piece just maxes out the best skills we can. Weakness Exploit gives another 30% affinity on weak zones, which we want to hit anyways, they're weak. We managed to fit 2 levels of Agitator, giving 8 attack and 5 affinity when the monster is enraged. Our last 2 slot skills get us 3 levels of Counter Strike, which is a crazy 25 attack whenever you get hit. We can activate this without wasting any time with the tiny amount of hyper armor on our golf swing. And that's the gear. Before the fight, we eat a meal for random attack up, take our Mega Demon Drug, Demon Powder, Might Seed, and Might Pill. Quick tangent, if you put on Item Prolonger, which is a skill that boosts buff durations by 50%, eat a buff, and then change armor back, the buff stays increased. And that buff doesn't go away while you're in a camp, the time doesn't tick down, so you can just do this before a hunt, and then completely negate the point of the skill. Tangent number 2, if you're wondering how I got all these supplies, I asked my plug for a hookup. List of mods used in the description. Trust me, this game is horrendous to speedrun without some quality of life. Video on that dropping at probably eventually o'clock. To quickly recap, these are the 2 world records as of me doing this run. One with Palico and one without. 533 is my goal since I'm also using a Palico, but the closer we get to 520, the cooler. I mean, that'd be dope. Will I beat either of these though? Let's find out. We make sure to always start the hunt from the ruins of Wyveria, so that we start riding the sacred as we enter the hunt. I also enabled my controller overlay for this run, which looks ass, but it's still better than the in-game button guide. We don't grab the dragon pods anymore as we have a better time to do so, but of course we still equip our corrupted mantle. Because I started using Might Seeds, I now miss these first attacks on purpose to not exceed a certain damage threshold. If you do too much damage, the head will not break open the second time it seals, and we need it to break open in order to deal enough damage to wounds. We'll get there. I also use this side attack here, which always misses because Hammer sucks, but it's fast enough to allow me to hit the wound here to cancel the long roar animation. I then do the weaker charge attack to get Zoshia to stun sooner, and wait a moment before my combo, because I want to make sure that it times up with the head becoming breakable. Importantly, I'm setting up the second head wound break, which allows the third one to be a guaranteed topple. This roar dodge is mandatory for my route, as it lets me set up this offset through the fire. You can hit the head pretty consistently with good positioning. Then I adjust myself back and left while charging in order to both hit the head and dodge the upcoming fireball. Now, because I am directly in front of Zoshia after this fireball, it's almost guaranteed to go for a bite attack, which will always hit us. However, with all our hits, that third wound has opened up, and you know what that means. Guaranteed knockdown, just in time. So after the 4th big bang hit, I charge up a different slam as to not miss my move and hit the arm as it falls. We don't have enough time for another big bang due to the recoil, so we simply spin, open a wound, use a wound attack, and transition over the head to build up more stun. The bonus arm damage now happens just because of how wound attacks work, and I wish I could explain why that topples the monster, but unfortunately, because the greed in front of it stays on the ground, I cannot. We do a similar loop on the next arm, which leads to another guaranteed topple. It's possible to deal enough damage to stun Zoshia for a third topple, but I don't manage that and instead we bail out to camp. We do this because Zoshia is going into a long transition attack where you can't do much but watch it breathe fire. We were blowing up 2 crystals in this phase, so the reset isn't costless, but in exchange, we get to switch to completely new gear, which is simultaneously sharpening our weapon because it's a new weapon. And the short explanation of this new gear is to sacrifice the Fulgur armor set bonus for the sake of crazy elemental damage. Zoshia becomes very weak to dragon, but only in the last phase, which is why we switch now. This set is from the same runner as the last, and the only change I made to this set was removing a level of handicraft for increased stun attack, because I found myself not running out of sharpness with a certain technique I'll showcase. This is also our chance to apply some of the buffs from the start of the fight, as well as grab the dragon pods we didn't get earlier. I then set myself up to drop the rocks. Standing around here barely puts Zoshia's arm in range of getting hit, giving a free knockdown. I prioritize the arm during the knockdown because I know Zoshia is still close to a stun from before the transition attack. And boom, right as I hit the head, there's the stun. I now switch to a new attack loop for the rest of the run. Element damage favors quicker attacks, so I use the spin move to enter my larger charge now. Now this charge attack does drain stamina, so you might be worried about maximum might. However, there was a recent rework and kind of buff to Maximum Might to allow a little bit of leniency before the buff expires. This normally doesn't give enough time to use your charge move, but there's just this tiny frame window where you can release the attack early. And if you successfully pull off that quick charge, that's what I dubbed it, you maintain Maximum Might and can re-enter your spin loop immediately. You might be able to even build around this loop for the whole fight, but I wasn't so desperate as to demand that much consistency from myself. Getting back to the fight, I run to the next rock set, and after this scripted fire attack, there's a little bit of luck you need. You just need Zoshia to not use a fireball attack. Almost anything else and he'll run over and you can drop the rocks and sharpen. I'm now just hitting the head some more to build towards my next stun, timing my hyper armor through the roar, and keeping the quick charges coming. I'm not completely ready for this transition so soon. I did a bit more damage than I expected, so I go off script and stow my weapon to dive through the roar. This ends up leaving me on the ground too long to put on the rock steady mantle I swapped to, losing me a bit of time. If you're this far into the video, you probably enjoy it so far. Well, this is a small channel, so if you don't like and subscribe, you probably won't see me again. And if you're already subscribed, I'll be live soon after this releases beating wilds without breaking a single wound. Make sure to tune in. We just got past Uthduna, where Olivia breaks wounds for you, and so you have to, it's a whole thing. Go, guys, just tune in. I'm still not able to find a time to put on my mantle, so I eat another wind gust. Thankfully, I'm still blowing up enough crystals to make up for it. By the time I actually get the mantle on, it doesn't end up mattering. But if you're curious what music I was listening to, I believe it was either Roar of the Jungle Dragon or Wanted Dead or Alive by Bon Jovi, but again, I can't play that one. Skipping to the proper reveal, I manage a 5-minute, 26-second time, which considering the mistakes that this run had, I am completely satisfied with. It's nice to have finally completed this video. Excited to see what people think of my route. I know it's a bit amateurish, but I'm new, and you sure as hell can't tell me it's not flashy. You see some of that stuff? I'm pretty cool. I wonder what the next record will be by the time I'm done editing this. I mean, a sub 515 sure would be impressive. A 445? Why? You already won! You had the record! Nobody's using this weapon! It's springtime! Go outside!